Once the game begins, the player will go into the first scene. That scene's made by Mikhail Karper. When the player comes into the scene, they'll notice that it's an outdoor area. As they look around, they'll see fallen logs and a hidden collectible within the logs. Once the player finds the collectible, they will turn around and have to make their way through the maze of logs. When the player reaches the outside of the logs, they will find their second collectible on the right-hand side, and they'll turn around and truck up the hill. The player will notice a lot of fallen logs throughout the level, and some of them can be used by the Gravenal. Once the player moves the log, they will come to a bridge that is blocked by a box. Once the player moves that, they will be able to cross the bridge and collect another collectible. Moving on, the player will come to an area where they will have to use the jump and crouch function in order to get through. By using the crouch function, they will find another collectible. Once they reach the end of that, they will find another collectible and move on into the level. When they get through, they will notice a building on their left-hand side. Attached to that building is a cluster of ramps. The player will go up the ramps in order to find a collectible on the top. The player will have to be careful not to fall off. Once they reach their collectible, they can turn around and head back down to the ground. The player will find the collectible before they enter the door. When they reach the door, they'll press E in order for the door to open. And that's when the player will enter the building. To the right, there will be a group of boxes with a collectible behind. Once they get that collectible, they will climb a ramp to get to the other side. On the right-hand side, there will be a closed door. And the left, there's a movable box. After the player moves the box, they will reach the statue, and that will activate the door to open. And then they will continue on and exit out of the building, where they'll find the last collectible before they move on to the next scene.
All right, so my name is Deontay, and this is my level here with the abandoned library. From first inspection, the player is going to see a bus has been crashed into the front gate, so the player won't be able to enter through this way. They're going to need to find their way around the building and find another entrance. Rounding the building over to the right, the player is going to come across the buses as well as these garbage cans here, and notice that there's a hole inside the building. They also, at the corner of their eye, catch that shiny glowing collectible behind the trash cans. Now, in order for the player to go about getting into the building, what we're going to do is we're going to use these crates as a means of a stepping stool so that they can make their way up onto the bus and into the building. So we're going to push the crates against the bus. Use another one, that way we have a lower platform to climb on. Player jumps up on the crates and now into the bus. Now the player gets to the building. When they enter the building, it's going to cause the ceiling to collapse, which will block the stairway with the wreckage. So what they'll need to do is to find another way over to the other side. Entering the room to the right, the player is going to find that there's a way across. However, there's a gap that they need to make sure that they vault across. So the player is going to use these tables as a means of getting around. Use the fire escape by taking a crate and breaking through the window. Now the player can jump over this final table, hit that collectible. They might watch out for the fall in that pitfall there. So the player tries it again, hops up on the table. Let's vault this table once more. Now, ow. Alright, let's give it another go here. Alright, now the player's out in the fire escape. We use these crates here, break the adjacent window, and now they're in the room on the other side of the hallway. The player's going to collect this final collectible, access the door, and attempt to open up this door here from the left. Alright, now the player is back outside on the other side of the wreckage. Now we're needling into the media room, so what we're going to do is we're going to clear the wreckage of those crates that are currently blocking the way. That way it makes passing across this jump here passable for the player. So the player is going to leap over this. Watch out for that pitfall. If they fall down in the middle, they'll go about dying. So now the player's into the media room. Finally grab that collectible. This room doesn't all show too much, so they're going to make their way to the door, but this triggers that the ceiling is going to fall. The player is going to finally collect that final collectible there, hidden behind the bookcases, and find their way into the power room here. This is abandoned library. There hasn't been any power on, so what the player is going to do is inspect the room. You'll notice that there's a giant button on the ceiling. That button's obviously something the player's going to need to press. So what they'll do is they'll move these crates just as we did when we were outside using the buses, and use these crates as a means of a stepping stool so we can get up and press that button. So let's grab those crates, hop up. All right, now they've triggered the power to turn on, and should allow the players to be able to go about accessing certain areas. Let's get that collectible that we found over here behind the bus. All right, and explore a little bit more. To the left, the player will find a hidden bookcase here. Something a bit odd about that book, so they interact with it, which will go ahead and bring them into the hidden room, which will allow them into the media room, which is locked from the other side, and get that final collectible that's on this level of the floor. This door is locked, so the player will need to go about rounding back out and explore just a bit more, see what else this level has to offer. All right, it appears that there's something interesting going on with those computers. So the player interacts with that main computer, which triggers the floor to open behind them into the secret basement. Now the players in the secret basement, they can get that last collectible and use the crates one more time as a stepping stool that they can make their way into the hidden lab. Entering the hidden lab will trigger the final object to open, so the player will grab that key card. Once they've gotten the key card, they'll find that there's a mysterious wall they can interact with, which will allow them to escape out of the library and into the tunnel. All right, now they'll make their way through the passageway under this hidden tunnel here towards their next destination.
Alright guys, my name is Jonathan. We're going to proceed on through this level by walking to the door and pressing E to enter. The player will search through the house to find gems that will be needed to get a key to proceed onwards to the next level. They can use the grab node tool to grab and move objects such as the door and these stone cabinets. So what I say? This door is locked, and the player will have to find the spare key to proceed onwards to open it, or to come back, whatever. Or we're gonna go pick up this first collectible amongst the messy barrels and crates, and then proceed upwards up the stairs. The player will have to search every nook and cranny of the house to find hidden passages that will lead them to the said gems. As we see, there is one here. Open up and there's our first gem along with some more money. We're going to make our way up the stairs and through the mirror. Once we look at our wonderful looking character, grab the second gem, and we're going to keep on moving forward. Grab this one and avoid the moon table. Good at roll. Could move these boxes using the grab node tool and these barrels, and move this wall. And there's our final gem with our money. And we're going to work our way, look around a little bit. We're going to jump this gap for the sake of time and grab this collectible. And then fall down a hole and pick up our next glowing money. And then we're going to use the grab node to move this bed so the player can proceed downwards back to the first floor. They'll find this key to open the door right here on the shelf. So if they miss any of the gems or any collectibles, they could just use the key, open the door, and go back. Use the grab node on the stone wall and grab some more money. Let's knock down this wall and go right to the chest. Since we have the 3 gems, it'll open it up and give us our key. Now we're going to move these stone slabs so we can make a stairwell to get over the fence so the player may proceed onwards. Jump on up and over the fence. Now we're going to work our way over to the gate controls, grab the money, open the fence, and proceed onwards to the next area where the player will duck and jump over several logs.
This is Kyle Asplund, and the next area is mine. It's an abandoned medical facility, and as you'll notice as we round the corner to our left, we have a glowing stack of crates. Next to this stack of crates is our cash pickup. We can take one of these crates with us. If you choose not to, there's one supplied already. And we'll use this crate to break through the glass wall. We'll need to make sure that we take at least one of the crates with us, so we have a way to get through the next door here. Focusing on the right-hand side of our door. Using the crate to blast our way through. And off to our left, we'll have a strange-looking brick wall that we can pull down, revealing a money pickup. This other wall here can also be torn down, and the pieces of it used to break through our glass walls here. Give that one another throw. To our left here, we have our first biohazard suit pickup, as well as a money pickup. And if we do a little exploring, back over to the other side through our second glass wall, we'll notice another strange brick wall that we can tear down and find our second biohazard suit pickup, as well as a money pickup. Returning back over to the left-hand side of this room here, we'll find our elevator. Press E to go up to our second floor with more glass walls and a money pickup. Use our crate, make a little hole there. Go through the other one as well. To our right's a biohazard suit pickup, and if we go explore a little more, find another brick wall, some more money, as well as a rather curious looking bathroom. Looks to be made for giants. As we go back through the middle room, we have a floor that, if we're not careful, will take us some time to get our way back up. Proceeding on to our second elevator. Going up to the third floor to our fourth and final biohazard suit pickup, rendering us invulnerable to the contamination that is ahead. Grabbing our brick block here, we can make our way through what I swear is one of the glass walls. Go ahead and give it a crouch. Over here to our right, we have a rather difficult glass door. And inside is our main objective, our medical supplies. Breaking through the rather easy glass wall, we will escape this abandoned medical facility through the third-story window. And on to our next area.
Hey everybody, my name's Chris, and the fifth scene will be mine. As the player makes their way up the road, they will come across a gap. If the player falls down into that gap, it will instantly respawn them back to the previous checkpoint. The player will then crawl. When they arrive up, they will see that there is a fire, and to put that fire out, the player must come over to the little switch, press E to activate the sprinkler system. At that point, it will activate an animation, and the fire will go out. Once the player does that, they will find their first cash collectible along with another switchboard to activate the front doors. Once inside, the player's objective is to search for 8 key cards. These key cards are spread out between 2 sides, so the player must search into each room, find those key cards, along with activating any switches that could put out fires. The player can also use objects and blow them open with the object, or they can just pick up the doors and blow them open that way. Player will find another key card in this room along with another switch. They will continue on to the third room. The player's objective is to turn on all the sprinkler systems until the fires in this stairwell are open. As they can see that there is fire currently there. So the player will run into this room, find another key card buried within the little rubble. Activate the next switch. Check out the next room. And there's our final switch for this side. The player will see that there is a door here that is not activated through using the grapnel. The player will then continue to go up the ramps to reach the second floor here. They'll find another cash collectible along with another switch. The player will activate that switch and find that the path is blocking. At this point, the player can then use the grapnel to move one of the chests out of the way and continue down the ramp to the next area. Once on this side, the player can look to their left and see that there's a fire there, knowing that they have to find the switch that puts out that fire. They'll find another key card in this first room and continue back to the library. When inside, they will look around and find another collectible to the right. When they return back and go to the other side, they will see that there's another door. When they activate that door, they'll find another key card and another switch. Player will activate that switch to put out the fire in this final room here. Once inside this room, they'll find their last key card along with another switch. The player will activate that switch and return back to where that first fire was when they came onto this side. When they get over there, they will see a panel. When they activate that panel, it'll open up this door. This door requires all 8 of the key cards to be found to work. The player will then go to this computer station and press E to locate the plutonium. Once they collect the plutonium, they'll find a message that says you must have the plutonium to activate, which will open up a secret door. Once that secret door is open, the player can then go inside, where they must jump and crawl to reach the elevator that takes them up to the next scene. The player will find another cash collectible here. They will press E in the elevator. And this will bring them to here. At this point, if the player has 38 cash available, the player can go to this elevator on the left. When they arrive at the top, they will enter another little area where they can go and press E to activate the door. Once the door is activated, the player can then collect the big ruby. And the player at that time has a choice to either jump down from here or return back to the elevator. At this time, I will jump down from here. And that is it.
And we're in on my level. My name is Daniel Schoppel. The player is brought up to a platform that leads them directly to a train. which they theorized to be able to get them out of here. So the player first wants to check around the platform for some collectibles. Maybe there's some money left over. And then they need to get on the train, which they can't interact with the door. So first they got to try and use the grapnel to maybe pull the door off its hinges or use it as a ramp. Once into the first car, they can move the boxes around with the grapnel to give them access to collectibles that may or may not be scattered about. Then they come across the first door, which they can't get through because it's broken. So they just hop through the window, and then they're on to the second door, or car. Here they come across the same problem where the door won't open for them. So the player has to think, well, how are they going to get out of here? And they notice that there's a skylight, which they can get through by simply building some steps out of the boxes that are available to them. Once the player accomplishes this, they are rewarded with a collectible, and they need to progress forward to the front of the train. They won't be able to jump out of the train area. There are borders that are preventing them from doing so. So naturally they try and progress forward, but they can't get through that. They can't interact with it. They can't, nothing. So they need to find a way around that. So they go backwards and find there's a staircase that takes them upstairs, where they can explore, find a few collectibles, and find a door that they can't interact with the E key. So taking a page from the beginning of the level, they just use the grapnel, either pull the door or push the door in. And then they come across a hole in the floor. After they jump down the hole, there's some cash waiting for them, and they just advance to find a fire extinguisher. The player wants to pick that up in case they might need it for something earlier or later on in the level. Then into the fourth car, they come across electric panels that they don't want to touch. If they touch it, they will be instantly killed and sent back to the last checkpoint. So to deactivate them, the player just picks up boxes and launches them at the buttons. If the player hits the buttons, they'll turn red and turn off the panels. And here's why we need that fire extinguisher, to get rid of that fire so they can pass. If they don't have the fire extinguisher, they'll be prompted to go get it. In the final car, the player's told that they need to put coal in the furnace, along with releasing the brakes of the train, if they want to start the train. If they do not do both of these tasks, the train will not start. So if they burn the coal in the furnace but don't release the brakes, they'll be prompted to release the brakes, and vice versa for the coal. Once that's done, the player can simply go upstairs, interact with the train console with the E key, and then they're off.